Yo, what's up, guys? Leafs lose 6-3 to the Edmonton Oilers. What can I say about this hockey game tonight, guys? The first two periods, they were pretty tight. Leafs took a 2-1 lead. Obviously Edmonton took a 1-0 lead. Leafs came back, tied it up 1-1. Took a 2-1 lead, obviously, and then Edmonton tied it up, and then everything just became a bloody disaster after that. My God, what a horrendous third period by the Maple Leafs tonight. Now, like I said, I didn't think the Leafs played horrible in the first period and little bit of parts of the second. Of course, obviously you got two of the best players in the game playing for the Edmonton Oilers, of course, and on that first goal, it was more funny and more laughing out of anger, because I cannot believe what I saw. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who luckily enough returned tonight, obviously after leaving the game the other night, obviously with an ankle injury. We all thought he was going to be out for a long time. Thank God he recovered. Obviously there was some talk about William Nylander not playing tonight because he was sick. Joshua didn't play tonight because he was sick, of course. So the Leafs had some changes to make on the pairings, of course, guys. And my God, on that first goal, it was ugly to see 97 blow by Ekman-Larsson like that. The worst player on planet Earth to leave alone. With that speed of his, just blows by everybody. Just horrible defensive breakdown there by the Maple Leafs. Beats Hildeby. You obviously know he's going to score one-on-one with that type of speed that this man has, obviously. So the Oilers took a 1-0 lead, of course. But I thought the Leafs responded well after that, giving up that 1-0 goal. The Leafs were able to tie it back up with a great play by Scott Laughton to get the puck in front of the net there. Obviously, the Oilers made a trade for a goaltender and Tristan Jarry, obviously. Ironically enough, it's right before they played the Leafs. Jarry obviously makes the save off the backhanded shot by Laughton, but Cowan's able to get the rebound there to make it 1-1. Of course, I really liked how that fourth line was playing to start the game. Obviously that fourth line of Laughton, Lorentz, and Cowan had some really good games in the preseason. Of course, obviously, I know it's the preseason, but they showed some good signs before Scott Laughton got hurt, obviously. But they played well tonight in the first period and a little bit of the second, but everybody faded after that, obviously. But Leafs also had another opportunity right after they scored, of course. John Tavares had a breakaway. Unfortunately, it was saved. Leafs could have taken a 2-1 lead going into the first intermission, but it obviously didn't happen, of course, guys, and then Edmonton's got dynamic players, of course, guys. We obviously know they're going to find a way to come back in games after the Maple Leafs took a 2-1 lead with a great play by Ekman-Larsson. Great pass by Nice to find OEL after there was a great opportunity right before that. Ekman-Larsson's able to beat Jarry with the shot from the point. Great shot by Ekman-Larsson, of course. Thank God, like I mentioned, that he was not out long-term, guys, because we really needed him. But even though the game ended up turning into a disaster, OEL gets another goal. Really positive things for him, to say the least, guys. And then after that, unfortunately, Edmonton started to press again. McDavid, with his speed, obviously, gets in front of the net there. And unfortunately, Troy Stecher, former Oiler, scores on his own net because the speed of McDavid is just staggering. Like, people freeze when you see this guy skating. It's incredible how fast this player is. And Stecher obviously tries to whack the puck out into the corner. Fortunately, goes right into his own net, and he apologized to Hildeby. He obviously felt bad about it. The Oilers are just such a really great offensive team, guys. You knew they were going to have chances to come back and tie this game. But after that second goal, things took a turn for the worse for the Maple Leafs. They started turning the puck over more often, having more defensive breakdowns, leaving guys wide open. We saw that on the third goal near the end of the second period. Darnell Nurse is left wide open, obviously by a turnover by the Maple Leafs in the neutral zone. McDavid and Draisaitl. Beautiful play by Draisaitl with the backhander to McDavid, and then back to Draisaitl, who finds Nurse wide open, beats Hildeby. Nothing Hildeby can do, guys. Hildeby was left hanging out to dry tonight in this game by his teammates. Just horrendous defensive effort by the Leafs tonight, guys. And it's 3-2 Oilers going into the second, and my God, what a horrendous third period. Like I mentioned, guys, it was men versus boys in that third bloody period. For the Oilers to score 5 unanswered goals. But it was staggering to me. Absolutely staggering to me. The goal by Podkolzin in front. The Draisaitl goal. It was like, I cannot believe how horrendous this team is in their own end sometimes. You got Nick Robertson taking a page out of Mitch Marner's book, pass between the legs. Instead of a spin around, a pass between the legs. We got guys chipping the puck up from behind the net right into the middle of the ice. It was like they gave these guys gifts tonight. 4 goals were due off turnovers tonight by the Maple Leafs. It was staggering how many times this team gave up the puck like early Christmas gifts tonight, guys. Just pathetic by the Maple Leafs. And yeah, sure, Steven Lorentz scored a goal to make it 6-3. Whoop-de-bloody-do. Once again, the bottom 6 showing up late when it didn't matter at all. You know, that's the frustrating thing. You see Edmonton, who's got their bottom 6 guys contributing, and then you got your superstars, the Oilers, of course, getting 6 points. McDavid with 2 goals and an assist. Draisaitl with 3 assists, obviously, guys. Like, it was so frustrating to me. You know, seeing Podkolzin get 2 goals in the third over there by assist by Draisaitl. Like, my God, man. It was men versus boys. Like I said, seeing Hyman getting a goal. Like, seeing the Toronto kids, too. Like Hyman, who's a former Leaf, and McDavid, who's a Toronto kid, of course. It really burns me. But this lack of effort by the Maple Leafs tonight. God almighty. Like, I know Nylander was sick. He was invisible tonight. Tavares was invisible other than that breakaway opportunity. I don't know where the hell Austin Matthews was tonight. You know, Max Domi, again, invisible. Nyes had a couple chances, but was pretty much invisible majority of the game. And that's the most frustrating thing about this bloody franchise. And us fans, including myself, are getting tired of this shit every bloody year, you know. Watching Austin Matthews, the way this player has regressed the last few years, it's scary. It is absolutely scary. Not that long ago, 2 years ago, this guy here was scoring a goal or 2 a night, 69 goals a year. We were comparing him to the likes of McDavid and McKinnon. And now Austin Matthews has gone down a notch or 2, maybe 3 or 4. You know, watching McDavid and Draisaitl tonight, I'm thinking to myself, that's how superstars perform. That's how superstars put their teams on their back and carry them to victory. You know, that's why Edmonton has been to back-to-back Stanley Cups. You know, you could see it in their play tonight. You could see a team that just wanted it more than the Oilers. They have what it takes to get to a cup again, obviously, with those 2 guys in charge. But my God, you can see the difference between our superstars and their superstars. You know, you could tell. Even last year and the year before, McDavid was on a mission to get to a cup final and try to win. You could see it in his eyes. I don't see that in Matthews. I don't see that in Nylander. That's what's the scary thing. We've been at this shit for 10 plus years, and I don't see no bloody change in the way this hockey team operates. You can change the head coach. You can let a superstar walk. You can change the defense and the goaltenders. But until you sort out the core of this franchise, you ain't going to win shit. You're not. Okay? It's very simple. We do not have enough dogs on this team, guys. It is very clear. Edmonton, they have what it takes, okay? The Leafs do not. You could see it in this game tonight, guys. You know, watching a team like Edmonton, seeing a team like Florida last year, you know, those teams just have a different mentality when it's time to win. And they just have a different level of effort. And you could see it in this game tonight. Just like I said, men versus boys tonight, guys. You know, where was our superstars? Like I said, I know Willie was sick. But Christ almighty, man. Even with Matthews and his injury history, never coming out clean, telling us what the issues are. It's getting to a point now where us fans are saying, enough. That's enough. Tonight's game was another indictment on the Maple Leafs and where they are as a franchise. They are nowhere close to competing for a Stanley Cup. Nowhere close. Even if this team does make the playoffs, they ain't going anywhere. Let's be honest here. They are not going anywhere. When you have guys like Morgan Riley on your team, okay, when you have guys like Max Domi, Nick Robertson, guys who are unproductive in your bottom 6, and when your superstars aren't performing, God help you. God honestly help you. And you can see it, guys. You know, I just watched the Amazon series, okay, season 2. And I watched the Cup final repeat with Florida and Edmonton. Florida, what I saw from them, I will never see from the Maple Leafs, ever. Those players do what it takes to win. They will say whatever they have to get under your skin. They will do whatever they have to do to get in front of the net and get a goal. They will sacrifice their body. They will do everything it takes to bloody win. That's why Florida's back-to-back cup champs. That's why Edmonton went to back-to-back cup finals, because they sacrifice what it takes to win. You don't see that in the Maple Leafs. Once the Leafs went down 5-2, the team gave up. They just gave up. Like, that is just a sign to me that this team here needs to possibly think about blowing this shit up in the near future, because it's just a flat line. There is no progression with this hockey team, guys. There isn't. It's just one flat line with them, and you just get inconsistencies like no tomorrow. You are never going to see this team step up when they have to. They are always going to be scared. Matthew Tkachuk said it when they played the Leafs in the playoffs. You guys scared? You guys scared? And you know what? He was right. They were scared, and they still are today. They're a bunch of pussies, this hockey team. They got nothing but a bunch of pussies. Guys on this team that will not do what it takes to win. And you can see it in the Oilers, okay? They know they got 3 years left with McDavid. If they don't win in 3 years, he could possibly leave. So that's why they went and made a trade for Jari. That franchise has to do what it takes to win, to keep their superstar. But unfortunately, our superstar likes to get bitchy with the media. I'm not telling you my injury history. I'm not telling you what's going on here. And then he regresses as a player and then expects us to be calm about it. I'm sorry, man. It is not good enough by this fucking hockey team. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just not good enough, okay? I am so sick and tired of watching great teams come into Toronto or just playing the Leafs in general and smacking them up because you just know they're a better team. When is this franchise going to get it right? When are they going to get it right? When are they going to have to make the tough decisions and say, that's enough. Enough is enough. Because I am not seeing this organization doing what it takes to win. I'm only seeing this organization doing what it takes to keep the seats filled and getting into the playoffs every year. I am not seeing the decisions that changed the franchise's fortunes to bringing home the first Stanley Cup since 1967. I'm not seeing it. Keith Pelly will have a lot to answer for this offseason if this hockey team does not make the playoffs. And even if they do make the playoffs, they ain't going to do shit. But they need a core reset, if you ask me. That's just me. I do not like what I've seen. I've already said it many times. I would do everything in my power to get rid of Morgan Riley. Everything in my power to trade him. He is one of the biggest reasons why this franchise will never get anywhere. He's not. I'm not trying to single him out, but he makes $7.5 million. He ain't good enough. Austin Matthews is now making $13 million. He has not performed to that contract. William Nylander, he's had a bad couple weeks, yes. But Willie has been great for the Leafs majority of the season. But the problem is, when we need Willie to step up most, he looks disinterested sometimes. And that's what drives me nuts, especially on the defensive side of the puck. That is the type of shit that I say to myself, you don't do what it takes to win. You don't. You got to play on both ends of the ice, not one side of the ice. That's one thing William Nylander needs to change. Matthews, I can't explain it anymore. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I just can't explain it anymore. And then, like I mentioned, you got guys like Domi. You got guys like Robertson. You got guys like McMahon. Okay, these guys here, they're not productive enough. They're not. One of the only few guys that I've liked this season is Scott Laughton, and he was out for the first 18 games of the year. He's been one of the only few guys who show some heart and some soul. But the rest of these guys, some of them don't show it at all. Zero. You know, and I get it that McDavid and Draisaitl are amazing and you're going to have difficulties against them. But this was a pathetic performance tonight, guys, if you ask me. Just an unacceptable performance tonight. And this hockey team is starting to get on everybody's last nerve, and we're growing tired of it. But I'm tired of talking about this team tonight, guys. I feel like a broken record about talking about this hockey team tonight. Listen, the Leafs can go and win 6, 7 in a row, 8 in a row. I could care less. But when it matters most, when it gets down to what matters most, guys, I just don't see this hockey team doing what it takes to bloody win, guys. But tell me your thoughts and opinions. We'll love to hear this, guys. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions about the Leafs' performance tonight, how they are as a team in general. So, love to hear your thoughts. So, click like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Leafs, go as always, I guess, right? And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Leafs Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.